Assalamu alaikum, my brothers. We're going to be predicting UFC 325 from early prelims to the main event. My name is Omar, joined by Luca and Landon.
Hey guys.
And let's just get right into it. First fight on the prelims, Toe versus Batbayar. These guys are debutantes coming off of road to UFC. Both of their first fights in the UFC. Batbayar's a grappler, Toe's a striker. Batbayar is better on the ground. I'm just going to give it to Batbayar by decision.
Yeah, and you know those Mongolians, I feel like they have a good UFC camp over there. You know, I feel like they're producing a lot of talent, and you gotta just trust fighters from that region just because they're really well-rounded and really good on the ground.
Like, you just have to bet on the wrestler here, honestly. Especially when the other guy got out-grappled, his only loss.
Similar to, like, how Dagestanis have that, Dagestani plot armor. It's kind of like that.
Oh, yeah, with the Mongolians.
Mongolian plot armor. All right, on to the next fight. Sulangrangbo versus Lui. Again, coming off of a road to UFC, both their first fights in the UFC. They're both strikers. There's a 10-year age gap between the two of them. Lui's like the older fighter. Lui's coming off a TKO win, and I think he's in his prime. I think he's winning by decision or KO.
Yeah, honestly, I think there's just a massive experience gap there, especially when the other guy is 20. It'd be different if Lee was older, but I mean 30 is the prime of your career, so I think you have to go with him.
Yeah, both their first fights in the UFC, they're coming off the road to the UFC. I think Szalay is just the more complete fighter. He has subs and KOs on his record, so Szalay by decision.
Yeah, give me Australian power, bro.
And we have Kim versus Marfan. Kim's more polished striker, coming off of 2 finishes. Kim by decision.
I like to pick.
All right, last fight of the early prelims, Ofli versus Yi Zha. Yi Zha's an aggressive striker. He's coming off a KO. Ofli's pretty durable, but he has been KO'd. I'm going to say Yi Zha by decision or KO.
Yeah, I got Yi Zha by knockout. Ofli, he surprised me in his last fight. I didn't think he was going to beat Ricardo Ramos, but he won it on the ground in in the first round, I believe. I mean, I don't think he's no joke. I think this is going to be close. I'm going to go with Yi Zha by knockout in round 3 because of his, I think he's more polished, and I think he's got more momentum.
I think Ofli's a little bit underrated. I'm going to take Yi Zha, but I think it's a good underdog pick for anyone who wants to take Ofli, especially against Yi Zha, who's not got a lot of experience like that, versus Ofli, who's definitely had a few UFC fights under his belt and is going to have more octagon time.
Moving on, Jonathan Micallef and Oban Elliott. Micallef, he's been KO'd. That's his only loss. Elliott has, I think he's the higher level competition that they're giving him. But Micallef, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, and I think he's gonna use his grappling to get this win. I think he's gonna win by decision.
Yeah, I mean, Oban, he was one of the best prospects for a while until, he was like minus 500 against Seok Ko and lost by decision. But I don't know. I think Micallef, I think he's a good fighter. He's good on the ground, but I think Oban's just gonna outstrike him, and I don't think he's gonna get the finish, but I'm gonna take it by decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Luca here. I think Oban's gonna win. He was a lot more hyped before. He's been on I don't want to say a downward spiral, but he's lost a little bit of stock, but I still think he's gonna get the win here.
Jacob Malkoun versus Torrez Finney. Torrez Finney coming off of the Dana White's Contender Series. Undefeated. He's, an explosive fighter. Malkoun has strong grappling. He's actually a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Although Finney is the underdog, I'm going to give him the win here. I think he's going to win by decision.
Okay, so Finney, first of all, that's like one of the craziest builds in the UFC. He's a middleweight, right? But he's like, how tall is he?
He's like 5'8".
He's like 5'8" as a middleweight, and he's got to be like 3 feet wide at least. Like, dude is built like a cannonball. But I think it's gonna be on the ground. Both these guys are grapplers. I'm going with Finney too.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if this one didn't go the distance, to be quite honest with you, especially after Finney's last performance. I am gonna take him again though. I think he's just it's probably gonna be boring, but I think Finney's gonna win.
Moving on, Rowston versus Cody Brundage. Rowston is the favorite here.
Minus 300.
Almost minus 300.
This guy's a lot of momentum. He's a great striker, and I'm not going to take him, though. Knocked out Andre Petrosky, but we know he doesn't have the best chin. I like Brundage. I think he's going to control wrestle him. I think he's going to fraud check this guy, I know Brundage has, they just feed him to the young up and comers, but this time I think he's gonna pull off the upset. I know he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but I think he's just gonna win by the grappling.
I'm gonna go with Luca here. Brundage is he's somebody that's been fed to high level prospects and hasn't always done terrible. So I think people think he's way worse than he is just because he's been fighting like decent fighters. And I don't know a lot about Caleb Rowston, but if he's not that level, I think Brundage could probably just beat him here. And I'm going to take Brundage.
On to the next one, Junior Tafa versus Billy Elekana. So now this is Tafa's second light heavyweight fight, coming off of a submission loss. They both have power. Elekana has the submission ability. Tafa's more of like a win-loss fighter. I think it's gonna be Elekana round 2 submission.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose to Tukos, like what are we doing? Seriously, I think Elekana's not that great of a fighter either, but I think he's gonna win by decision. I think he controls him, and I think he 30-27s Junior Tafa.
Yeah, I'm going with Elekana. Tafa, he's a can. He's just not good. It's really hard to pick him in anything.
Yeah, it seems like he's just like riding on his brother's coattails.
And his brother's not even that good, but
oh no.
Yeah, but he has to. I mean, he's just terrible. Honestly, I don't see a way where he wins this fight unless he gets lucky.
All right, moving on to the main event. Salkild's coming off of a win, 3-fight win streak in the UFC, undefeated in the UFC. I think he's gonna keep that streak going. I think he's winning by KO.
Yeah, I think so too. He's just got a wave of momentum right now, undefeated in the UFC, like you said, and he's a very exciting fighter. I think he just takes it on this one.
I wish he got a higher step up in competition. You know, this is how I sort of feel about this Gautier fight. I think he'll knock him out in the first couple of rounds, but I'm excited to see if maybe they give him a ranked opponent next. He fought a guy who I thought was really good in Nasrat Hakparas, and I feel like this is a step down in competition.
I think that Gautier and Salkilld, they're probably going to be ranked by the end of the year based on how often they fight and how good they are.
I bet one of them will lose this year.
I think it's more likely to be Salkilld. If one of them does.
Yeah, especially in lightweight when it's like, a division that's so stacked.
No, I'm excited to see him tonight, man.
It's such a deep division, too. He has a lot of people he could lose to, especially right outside the top 15.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
All right, moving on. Tuivasa versus Tallison Teixeira. They're both coming off of losses. Teixeira just lost to Lewis.
5-fight losing streak, by the way.
Tuivasa hasn't won since 2022. That's crazy. But they both have that, the power, the ability to end the fight early.
Yeah, and Ty's more athletic as you think.
It'd be nice to see him win and get the shoey going with the...
Yeah, because what happened after his last one against Lewis? He got that title shot against Gaan. We all know how that went.
He almost won, to be fair. He had Gaan rocked at a point.
That's true. And then they fed him Pavlovich when he was on the rise, and he got knocked out a minute in. Volkov, Shibura, Rosenstrike. It's just hard to pick Tai Tuivasa at this point in his career. I know Tallison really only has like a minute of fight experience in the octagon in 2 fights. I'm gonna just go with the younger guy who's on like a the strong up and comer. Yeah, I know he got finished by Derek Lewis, but it was a little fluky. It wasn't the cleanest knockout, and that was a big step up too. But it feels like the UFC's really trying to push him.
Yeah, some would say it was an early stoppage.
He was trying to climb the cage. I don't really like this matchmaking, but I'm gonna take Tafa by first round knockout. Not Tafa, Teixeira.
Yeah,
I'm also gonna take Teixeira on this one. I think Ty he hasn't won in so long. He's been inactive for so long. I can't remember last time he's fought. It's been like well over a year and a half, right?
You think this will be his last fight in the UFC if he loses?
I think if he gets knocked out, I think there's a decent chance it could be. I don't know where he'd go from here if he's losing to the 15 ranked guy. I think Tallison's just better and he's younger, and I'm definitely gonna pick him on this one.
Yeah, they might give him like a good send off, like if he does retire. Like if this isn't his retirement fight, this is gonna be my lock. Tallison Teixeira by KO. All right, on to the next one. Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Ruffy. Now Ruffy's just left the Fighting Nerds, coming off of a loss to BSD. Fiziev coming off of a loss to Keiichiro. So they both need a win. This is like a big step up in competition. I just think that Fiziev wins. He's gonna grapple.
You think he uses a grappling? I don't know. I feel like this is gonna stay on the. I mean, Ruffy looked really bad in the grappling in his last fight.
He did sit on Gaethje's head. Let's not forget that. He did sit on Justin Gaethje's head.
He did take down Gaethje.
He did take down Gaethje. I think he can take down Ruffy, and I think his striking's pretty good too. I think his striking can match Mauricio Ruffy's as well.
And do you think he wins by decision?
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be a decision.
Dude, Fiziev is this guy where everybody says he's like the best striker, But like the people who are like the absolute best in training, like it doesn't really show up. You know, I think Ruffy. I just think BSD is a killer. We're gonna talk about them later. I'm going with Ruffy. I don't know if I'm taking a knockout or a decision. I just think, you know, I really like his camp. You know, his counter punching is really good. You know, he's really talented. I can see a world where he gets a knockout, but I'm gonna take the younger guy, and I think he gets a bounce back. I don't think this is the last we've heard from him.
I think this matchmaking is really confusing. After he
Yeah,
got
you
dominated
saw
by
the-
BSD, I don't know why
lose
he
the
got
BSD and then get Fiziev. Like,
yeah, I don't know how he lost, like got dominated by BSD and got a higher ranked opponent. I do think Fiziev's a better matchup for Ruffy than BSD is, but I'm gonna take Fiziev. I think it's gonna be mostly on the feet, and I trust Fiziev more than I trust Ruffy, honestly. I think Fiziev is a fairly elite striker for that division, and I think it's just too much of a step up after.
but Ruffy,
being
I don't know.
dominated.
He's a lot bigger. I feel like
I don't think that's really mattered for most of Fiziev's career, though.
that's true.
Moicano is a lot bigger than Fiziev. Not not weight wise, but he's a lot taller and lankier.
And you also
he
could
still
see,
was
like,
able to knock out
Fiziev was
Moicano.
pretty inactive for a certain period of time, but now he's got a lot of momentum, so
Yeah.
it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be a banger, though.
I also have to take into account that he has fought Geiji twice, which is a high level fight. You get a lot of experience from that. And both times were very close. A lot of people have said they thought he might have won the first fight. So I think he's just a different level than Ruffy is right now. Not that Ruffy can't reach that, but I'm taking Fiziev for this one.
And the second fight was short notice as well, and he performed pretty well. He made it to decision.
He won the first round. I think in a lot of people's opinion.
All right, on to the next one. Dan Hooker versus BSD. This was kind of a toss-up for me. Hooker's coming off of a loss, submission loss to Armin. You know, he's pretty durable, high-paced fighter. BSD coming off of a win against Dariush, first round KO at 322. I think he's really a dangerous opponent for Dan Hooker. He has a knockout power, pretty durable as well. I think he's only ever been knocked out by Dustin Poirier when he had staph infection. I just think Dan Hooker has more experience. I think he has the pace to take it through 3 rounds. I think he can win by decision here.
I'm going to take BSD, but I think this is very dangerous. I think this is, obviously, besides the Poirier fight where he did get knocked out, I think this is his most dangerous matchup he's had. Hooker's very similar to Poirier in a lot of ways, and that ended up giving him trouble. I do think BSD is going to find a way to win through the grappling by kind of pushing the pace and being able to get Hooker down, and he's going to struggle to get up. I think his wrestling's not great, but it's going to be a really close fight. I think there's a world where Hooker comes out of this with a win, similar to how he did against Gamrot. I'm going to take BSD. I think he's just too hot right now to pick against, especially when he's not going against a wrestler.
This is my lock of the video. I'm taking BSD. I'm taking him by a second round submission. You saw how Armin, you know, they basically did whatever you want. You know, Dan Hooker, he tried to jump the ghillie, but I feel like this is a pretty quick turnaround. You know, he took some damage in that fight. I know it ended in like the second round, but you know, BSD got out of the cage with, you know, Dariush in, you know, what, 15 seconds. Like, I just think this dude's on a heater. His power is real. His submission ability is real. I love Hooker. He always goes out for. I can see this being like, you know, a fight of the year candidate. You know, both of these guys like to scrap, and I think BSD is gonna ground and pound TKO over Dan Hooker, probably in the first or second round.
I feel like Dariush is like kind of chinny though. Like he's chinned by Oliveira, Moicano.
I don't think he knocks him down. I think he ground and pounds TKO. You know,
I think he gets him down. Yeah, BSD's been like very dominant in every fight he's been in outside of Poirier, where you mentioned he did.
Yeah, and that Moicano, it was a doctor stoppage. His like last you know, real loss was, you know, prime Dustin Poirier. Not prime, but like a good version of Dustin.
I feel like top 5 lightweight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And other than that fight, you know, he's been on a tear. I know Preplich was, you know, kind of a fluke, you know, last minute, you know, guy who had, I don't know if he never was in the UFC or he was just off like a 4-year back. Yeah, he was like came back for 4 years, and it was evident. And you know, we'll see how Ruffy does in this fight, but I'm just gonna say that BSD is really good, and I think that's why I picked Ruffy, and that's why this is my lock of the video.
Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Volk's last fight was Diego Lopez, and he beat him by decision. Diego Lopez is coming off of a KO win against Gene Silva. Lopez is pretty dangerous in those early rounds, but I think if Volk can, you know, keep it going for the whole 5 rounds, I think he wins by decision again.
That's true, but he's 37. And we don't know what his current shape and form is. I don't know.
I'll also point out, like I did earlier with Ruffy, that I think this is just awful matchmaking.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand for Volk's legacy why you're putting him in the same
Should have
opponent.
gave him. It should have been Murphy, in my opinion.
I think
They had-
Mobzar's the answer if he was healthy.
Well, you have to punish
If not,
Mobstar for,
still
correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Mobstar supposed to fight Pico and then he called out and then Murphy
Yeah,
was.
so
Yeah, I feel
I
like the
did forget
UFC
about
should
that.
have rewarded Murphy.
I think Murphy would have been the right answer. I
Yeah.
did forget about Mobzar's pullout. Diego, I know he came off. He's probably got the best win in the division right now for a contender with the Gene Silva knockout, unless I'm forgetting something. So it's not like that he's undeserving, but he just fought for this title a year ago. He was fairly non-competitive outside of one round. I don't think this does a lot for Volk's legacy. To be
No.
quite honest, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
You think this is his last fight?
I think he said he's gonna fight again later on in the year or something like that. Like he said
Oh,
that
nice,
it wasn't
nice.
gonna be his last fight. Yeah.
Yeah, if this was his last fight, I think I'd be more okay with the matchmaking. Just so it'd be exciting. We didn't have to watch like him versus Mobzar or something. Knowing that it's not, I think it's pretty bad. But I am going to take Volk. I think it'll be closer than last time. I think it's going to be a 48-47. I don't see a knockout for Volk. I
Yeah,
think Diego Lopez's chin is way too good, but I think he's just going to
Oh yeah.
outstrike him, outpoint him on the feet, similar to how he did the first fight.
Yeah, but you gotta look back at Lopez's last fight. His ground game was really dominant against Gene Silva, who usually has good takedown defense. But Volk's got really good submission defense too, so I think that's gonna cancel out. This reminds me of Strickland versus DDP2. If I'm being honest, I don't know. I trust Volk's camp. I trust his experience. I trust his endurance. His IQ. I don't think he's gonna get knocked out. He was close. He got knocked out in that first fight, but.
He was overextending a little bit, I think is what caught him. But I think
yeah.
being more careful, I think he's going to be able to stay on his feet the whole time.
Yeah, I think this goes similar to last fight. I'm taking Volk, mate. He gets it done. I'm fucking hyped, bro. I'm really hyped for this fight. I'm a big Diego Lopez fan too. I thought he was awesome in his last fight. I just don't think there's many paths for Diego to win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they gave it to Diego in the first place when we have Evloev and Murphy. Evloev beat Diego Lopez, and Diego's getting a title shot twice before Evloev gets his. I just think this is crazy. I don't know what they were thinking. They had Murphy, Evloev. They could have even given it to Aljamain Sterling.
Oh
He's
man,
coming
that
off-
would have been no.
He's coming off a
That would have
win.
been awful. Everybody would have complained about that.
But still, I mean, he's coming off
What
a
about
win
Yair?
against Brian Ortega. I don't know.
I
We've
would not
seen
give
that
it to
already. That we've seen that already, and Yair
I know.
got TKO.
Remember, like last year when
his
like,
win
the
is like a
rumors-
29-28 against Pitbull, which is not a good win.
Yeah, what they really should have done is either Evloev or Murphy.
Should have been Murphy.
Yeah, one of them should have main evented. The co-main should have been Diego Lopez versus Yair. We could have seen, Quillan. Could have
Yeah, that
seen that.
rivalry.
That would have been nice.
Like you said, I think I would have done Murphy and Volk. I would have done Diego Ayer, and I would have made Mobzar go get a good win to like make up for the pullout.
Marsar won't fight. He's never gonna fight. I swear.
He's
But,
just one of those guys that like thinks he deserves a title shot, so he's not going to take anything else. But he needs.
Yeah, zero
still, I would
finishes
not
in
give him a
this
title
UFC
shot until he wins
career.
another fight.
Well, how surprised would y'all be if Diego won this?
I wouldn't be too surprised because the first fight was, pretty back and forth. There were moments where Diego could have finished the fight, and Volk is getting
I know
old.
it was a 50-45, but that was the closest 50-45 I've ever seen.
If Volk loses, I think the only thing for him to do is retire.
Yeah,
Diego
unfortunately.
Lopez wouldn't be a bad champ. If that happens, we might get to see Evloev versus Lopez.
How would you rate the card 1 through 10?
Like a 7.
7?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
I don't know. The main card's okay.
The main card's a little weak to me, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6. I think it's above average though. I think there's some pretty good fights.
I think there's some sneaky bangers in there. The main card, I think, could be a little
Oh,
bit more like beefy.
I think Hooker BSD is a
rankings.
banger. I think Ruffy Fiziev is going to be really fun.
I feel like on a really stacked card, Hooker versus BSD would be the opener for the card, and then we get like 3 fights where it's like the fighters are ranked top 5. Because like right now we just have one fight where the fighters are in the top 5, and it's the championship fight.
I just feel like
BSD
this main
Hooker's a
event.
really weak domain.
This main event, it's like a win-lose for Volk, I just don't like the position he's in, but I think he gets it done.
Yeah, again, I don't think there's a lot here for him to gain by beating Lopez again,
Mm-hmm.
unless he knocks him out. But even then, like, is that really adding a lot to the legacy after you've already 49-46, 50-45 in the first time? Like, I don't know. There's a lot to
Mhm.
gain here from Volk.
Yeah, Volk, he only has a few years left, maybe not even a year left. So I don't know why they're wasting his good years on Diego Lopez when they could have given him, an upper echelon opponent, someone that he can actually test himself with, have a better legacy, cement himself as featherweight GOAT.
He's definitely the featherweight goat.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Yeah, no question.
I don't see what this fight's doing. I'm not really looking too forward to this fight. Those are our picks Thanks for the fight. You guys have anything else to say?
Good luck to all the fighters tonight on 324. It should be a good card.
Yeah,
Alright.
it should be a lot.
See y'all later.